Thanks for staying with us. Now, according to an article by Dr. Obaji M. Abiji, Professor Ignatius Swart, Nigerian religious and political leaders should be reminded that they are not simply spiritual or political heads, respectively. They are the divine symbols of their people's health and well-being. So before we go further, please watch this video from Pastor Femi Emmanuel.
They are not available anywhere in the world. No church like Redeem, no church like Winners, no church like Mountain of Fire, no church like Chosen, no church like Christ Embassy, no church like Deeper Life in the world. Redeem alone has over 40,000 parishes. Winner alone has 30,000. There are only 10,000 wards in Nigeria where decisions of those who rule these countries are made. So it's not just deliver Nigeria. It should be God. Wake up your church. Talk to your general overseers. The church community is an imprisoned community. Our general overseers have imprisoned us. They must release us, mobilize us, encourage us to go to the grassroots. Politics is grassroots. You know, I have done politics before. I have campaigned, I've been voted for. I was a deputy speaker of a state. I know how it works. It's not just prayer. We have prayed. And God has answered the prayers. The answer is that He has given us people. Next to God's power is political power. And I want what I am saying to be carried live. Next to God's power is political power. And political power is people giving. And God has given us people. What else do you want Him to do for us? You want God to come from heaven and be casting vote? You want God to go to the world and become world chairman? No, the 7 ESCO in each world, they are the one that determine who is the president. We can't change Nigeria except we change the National Assembly. This evil law called Constitution, this is jihadist constitution. This is oligarchy constitution. This is a constitution that put the whole of the country under one tribe. This constitution cannot allow to go. And it cannot change until you change the men at the National Assembly. The men at the National Assembly will not change until you select new people that will replace them. So the church must wake up. And not only church, patriotic Nigerians must wake up in the name of Jesus. And you don't win on social media. You don't win on Facebook. You go to the grassroots. Me and you must be attending world meeting. And we will put our good people there. It is the people at the world that are called delegates. It is delegates that select who will be the president, who will be the governor, who will be the senator. If you are not there, you are at the back of the fence. If you pray from now till next year, and you are not there, it's a prayer in vain. Church must wake up. And that's what I'm telling the whole church. And I'm telling they are not.
Now the church must wake up. Now you can watch or find the full version of that video. It's quite a long video online. So based on Pastor Femi Emmanuel's analysis, do you think the church can truly transform the political terrain, Nigerian politics? Do you think that is possible? Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can tweet to us at PlusTvAfrica with the hashtag WadeShow. All right, so the church must wake up. So when I saw this video, I shared it with a few pastor friends of mine, and we truly had a tete-a-tete on the matter. Okay. And I mean, if you reel out the figures that the Pastor Femi Emmanuel had talked about, he talked about Redeemed Church having over 40,000 parishes, Winners Church having over 30,000 parishes, and he was comparing that to the local government wards that eventually are decision makers. They're like 10K. It got me thinking, truly the church has numbers when it comes to population, because he said something. Political power is people. And he said that God had given the church people. So why are we not taking advantage of the people that God has given to us to wield the political power? Because we keep on complaining. I mean, I see in my church, I don't know about any other church, but most churches, you see them praying for Nigeria, praying for things to change, praying for whatever. But the truth is it a prayer that will truly solve our problem, or we need to get the church to come into the scene and find, ways to infiltrate and penetrate the system. So let me hear, Elsie. Let me come to you first. No.
Let Norma start first.
No, Norma cannot start first. I called you first.
So what's the question?
What do you think about the question of if the church can truly transform Nigerian politics?
In Nigeria. So I think that the church can have the capacity to transform Nigeria. But right now, the church is not ready to activate that capacity. So, you know how you see a young person, and because you have gone through life and you can put 1 and 2 together, you look at that person and say you're seeing potentials in this person, and you're doing everything possible to get this person to be able to tap into that capacity they have and be better, right? So that is where I'm coming from in saying that, yes, I see potential in the church. I see that the church can have that capacity if the church is able to activate it. However, when it comes to issues like this, there is always room for leadership. And if the leadership is not ready to take the first step and do the right thing, then almost nothing can be done, right? Even before we start looking at it as a collective, when you look at what the church has produced in terms of fruit, yes, I know that there are Christians who are beginning to ask questions, who are beginning to do things differently, who are beginning to see everybody as quote and unquote the children of God, because even in Christianity there's a lot of division.
Yeah.
So I am a Catholic. My parents will not be happy for me to marry an Anglican. I'm not even talking about the new generation church now. Just even the ones we grew up with knowing. I'm from a core Seventh-day Adventist church, right? And you also hear that issue of, it has to be an Adventist that you get married to.
Sabbatarian.
And they quote the don't be unequally yoked.
Have you found the Sabbatarian?
What?
Have you found this?
That's how they find out. Anyway, so what I'm saying this to say that if we are not ready to activate that capacity and understand what Christianity is, and for me personally, I think Christianity is about excellence. It's about doing things and doing it right. If you can recall, on this show, I've had conversations where I talked about how I think Christians should be able to look at the things that God has given to them, whether it's their work, whether it's their family, and understand that they owe excellence to it. So if you begin to see every area of your life as a purpose from God, a calling from God, a mission from God to affect the people around you and even the society at large, then you begin to understand that you as a person, your actions, your inactions, is part of the reason why Nigeria is where it is right now. So until our pastors begin to have those sort of conversations, I like the numbers he used to back up what he's saying, because if I remember when our vice president now was going to go with Buhari, and a lot of people just believe from there that they've won, because there's that belief that because he's coming from that chain of the Redeemed Church of God, it means that a lot of people from there is going to back him up. And I remember the conversation too when people were saying, are they just not going to church? Do they have PVCs? And a lot of them really came out at that time to get PVCs. So I think that if these church leaders are genuine in their service, genuine in using this tool that God has given them to actually move the nation forward, then we'll be better for it. They cannot be speaking from two sides of their mouth. I'm a Christian, right? But if I see a fellow Christian doing something that is wrong, I should be able to call you out. Yes, the Bible has given us guidelines in terms of, if your brother does something wrong, call them to the corner, chastise them, right, and let them know. Until they are not listening, then you can come out publicly. Yes, we have those steps, but are we even following it?
Okay, so let me say, I want to bring in Isi, in a minute, because you see, something you touched on, but you breezed through it. You said that the kinds of people that the church is breeding. So when I was having this conversation with the pastor, he said something, that when you come into a church, the prayer you're saying, God, bless me. Let me buy a house. Let me buy a car. Let me buy this. Let me buy that. Bless my family. Bless my children. Bless my womb. Give me good job. Career this. So we have successfully built a lot of self-centered individuals where you are not thinking community. So we were talking and he said, just imagine. He said 40,000 words, Abi. Picture the number of home cells each church have. So you have a home cell in your home, right? If the church mandates it to say that outside of the home cell activity that you're going to do for the church, when you finish that home cell activity, you must, as a cell, do something to impact the community, and you must be involved in the things that happen in the world. How do you think that would generally impact the overall political landscape of the country? You know, so what do you think about that, Isi?
I think that would be a wonderful move if anybody can actually succeed in, you know, getting the home cell and the church and the ward to work in sync. There is something that I saw online, and it's a quote, and it says, when you bring religion and politics together, it's a whirlwind. And just imagine the power, the influence it will wield, not to talk of you now going into the home cells and bringing every individual to be a part of the community and to enable everyone participate in politics and in growing the political space. Look, we have done so much in our homes, and it's like you said, it's all about me. We don't look at the community, we don't look at the bigger picture where we can actually influence the decisions of those
because he said
us.
it now. He said delegates are the people that decide who go into political offices.
And you know, I think it was one of the guests we had, Kunle Lawal, that said that if you have to bring everybody together, it starts from the ward, and he nailed it again. It starts from the ward. When you bring people together and you tell them, okay, this is how we are going to get the people who will represent us, and the religious body in turn, with the influence they wield, are able to bring these individuals together, and also, what's the right word for this? Not influence them, but educate them. Because most people do not know anything. Like I said, a lot of Nigerians, we are practically ignorant of the political space. It's what they give to us, that's what we take. And we do not know that we are supposed to work from the ward and the grassroots down to upwards to the presidential space.
Please.
So it is crucial that we bear this in mind, that yes, the home cell is crucial, is important, and in turn influence the political space. And if every if every church now comes together, or religious body, be it Muslim, Christian, pagan, whatever God they decide to serve, they come together and say, we really want to stand for Nigeria and influence the people to make the right decision. Yes,
it's possible.
It is possible.
So let me come to you, Norma.
Yeah.
So, political power is people. And we all know that when you want to talk about the largest gathering today as it stands, is churches. When Redeem is doing Redeem camp, MFM is doing MFM camp, Winners is doing Winners camp, all the camp, the whole place is on complete lockdown because the numbers are actually there. Why are we not tapping into that? What do you think the problem is?
That's a very interesting question. I think that we have lost focus. And we all know that what we focus on expands. What are our leaders focusing on? You rightly said that when you go into a church atmosphere, what you see is me. Oh, Father, bless me. Oh, do this for me. Bless my family. This is who is talking about the community, who is talking about changing the thinking of the people. Help me to be a blessing to someone. And if we're going to look at it in the Christian context and see it from that perspective, we would know that God wants us to be channels. We are made not to just enjoy what has been given or you've been blessed with. You have been made to be a blessing. So if the focus is on blessing others, serving others, influencing others, you will see that people will begin to think differently. Interestingly, there's a story that I saw online and I found it very instructive for what we're saying. It said that there was someone who was traveling, right? And he saw, okay, let me just read it the way it is. So there's someone who came across a squad of soldiers who were trying to move a heavy piece of timber. According to the storyteller, he said a corporal stood by giving orders to his men. And he said, heave! They will try. Heave! The timber was too hard for them to move. But even with all his shouts and commands, the piece of timber was too heavy for the squad. And then he now asked the corporal, why don't you help them? The quiet man asked on the horse, addressing this so-called important officer, who instantly replied, me? I'm a corporal, sir, so you cannot help them. Dismounting, the stranger carefully took his place with the soldiers. And he said, all together, boys, heave! And the big piece of timber slid into place. With the job done, the stranger mounted his horse and addressed the corporal and said, next time you have a piece of timber for your men to handle, corporal, send your commander-in-chief. I don't know if you get the story. Unknown to this corporal, according to a storyteller, the horseman was George Washington, who eventually became the first American president. What is the point? The point is people want to see something and they want to be led in a direction. Somebody has to take that place. Yeah. You have to be the example. What you focus on is what they focus on.
Absolutely.
So if you focus on themselves, everybody becomes selfish because that's what they're focusing on. But if you are people and you're not just telling people what to do, you are showing by example. For example, you say, oh, go and vote, and you take your PCR. You say, this is
PVC
sorry. I'm talking
go ahead.
COVID. You know, you take your PVC and you say, okay, we have groomed this person, for example. Let me take the lead and endorse this person. Eventually, this is a community, this is a unit, and they look up to leaders.
So, you know, I like where you're going. Yeah, sorry, not to cut you, because, you know, just picture this. That you know, for every church, before a church will do anything in terms of help you pay your school fees, your hospital bills, and all of that,
you have to be a member
of it. You have to be involved in at the
home cell
exactly. At the home cell
exactly.
level. So most churches say that is the only way they can identify you, because most churches are too big,
so they
cannot identify their members. So they say, you know what, you have to be at that home cell level, so where people can identify that this person is a member of the church. Imagine if we just added a little bit to that, to say, you know what, you cannot only just be a member of a home cell, you have to have a PVC, you have to be registered in a ward in your community. What do you think that will translate to politically? But let's take a break, because we'll need to open our phone lines. When we come back from the break, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. If you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we're focused today on the church, and we're asking, can the church truly transform Nigerian politics? Now, please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. I'm happy to say tweet to us at PlusTvAfrica1 with the hashtag WeShow. So our phone line is also now open. Remember to turn off the volume of your television set when you call, and the number to call is 07025007749. All right, so you know, I'd said something before the break. I'd like to let Elsie come in, because she's been quiet for a minute. You know, if we go to that extent where we say, you know what, you don't only have to be a member of a home cell, you have to have a PVC, you have to be registered in what's it called, in a ward. What do you think that will it means? That you're not taking the bull by the horn? Because you see, I liked what that pastor talked about, because he said we have prayed, and that's the truth. There is no church they will do. I mean, there was a time they used to call for prayer at stadium. You wake up and bless us, pray for the nation. All the denominations will come together. We keep praying. But you see, faith without work is dead. And the church is so comfortable praying. But you need actual people to do the work. So you already have the people, you have the numbers. Why are you not taking advantage of that and backing people? Okay, so it was Kule Lawal we had on the show, and he was explaining to me how when he was running for Senate, that he remember one particular candidate that was running from Kaduna State, and that guy, just because he attended a mosque, just because he was a member of a particular mosque, he went to pray one Friday, and somebody looked at him and said, I know your face now. Are you not the one running for this whatever House of Assembly in Kaduna? We know your face. He told the imam on the mosque. The next thing, the mosque did not only put his posters everywhere. They mustered around him. They gathered money. They were paying him money every month towards his campaign.
Wow.
Do you understand? And he eventually emerged. That is even mosque. If you talk about the numbers for mosque, compare the number of attenders and churches. So you just imagine that if we take this thing seriously, what do you think? And guess what? I can bet you that every member in that mosque has a PVC. But let me come to Elsie. Okay. Sorry.
You want to go?
I was going to say, another thing before you come in, please. Another thing we need to take into cognizance is that who are they supporting? Because we actually thought, okay, when we brought in our vice president, we felt, okay, he was going to stand.
The church was divided.
Yes. But
you know that one conversation around
was,
politics, both you and I that are siblings, we can disagree. Politics is not something that binds people, it separates people. Go ahead,
of course.
Please.
So what I feel is, who is the church standing for? Who are they? Who is the candidate?
Who are they endorsing?
Who are they endorsing? Thank you. Who are they endorsing to come in and represent the people and the church? So it's not just about us looking for a candidate. It's the qualified candidate.
Absolutely.
Is the candidate qualified?
Let me hear.
That's another thing.
Clearing your truth.
So
I'm glad that she
went
there
PVC.
because I heard when Norma said
something
around endorsing somebody or just saying this is the person that we have groomed and all that.
Exactly.
Right? But for me, there are two things I want to touch on, this and the selfish part, prayer or selfish part, right? So it's not so much of endorsing people. I actually want the church to get involved in terms of what do they call it now? Is it polytracy, Abi? Polytracy, in terms of getting people to understand their rights, their political rights, their civic rights, their civic responsibility, and understand that they need to get involved. You see, when we start crossing the line and talking about endorsing somebody, then you realize the level of selfishness that we come into this education, and we will still get it wrong. So beyond knowing that, in fact, whatever you know about who your candidate is, good luck, it's good. I mean, human beings are complicated. I don't even vouch for people when it comes to work, not talk of being the president or a governor, right? Human beings are really complicated, right? And I give us space to do whatever we want to do. But I think that in moving Nigeria forward, in getting Nigerians involved, then yes, I think the church should come in. Like you said, if you're mandating people to have X number of people in their word, there was a story that came out at the time when a certain church was saying that their branches are not making the amount of money they are supposed to make, right? If you have those rules and those guidelines already, you can as well try to ensure that, starting from the pastor that is going to establish that branch in that remote area in that state, you know, the person should ensure that he owns a PVC and he is politically educated, and take it from there. But taking it back to the idea of Nigerians always praying for me. I don't know if you've seen the video online as well of our Mommy Gio that is now in Dubai. And the English has changed. So the thing is, my darlings, the thing is, Nigeria, the economy itself makes you understand that the only thing you can hold on to, even for your security, is God. Even after you have set up the higher security, use the 21st century CCTV, blah, 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 when you still go home, you say, dear God, please protect me. Because you know that this country, it is our country. We know what is going on, right? So Nigerians are at a point where the only thing that makes sense to them is to hold on to God. And the things that we are praying for, once we step out of this country and go to a Senate climb for me now, because you all know that I'm a very strong advocate of Nigeria. But Senate climb for me means that you don't have to pray for electricity. I mean, we do. When you're going home, you're like, please God, let there be light. We pray for electricity.
The light situation.
We pray for water that we will drink. Bad. We pray for things we shouldn't be thinking about. So please, you said something about people thinking about the community and how to move the community forward. How do you have the capacity to have such thoughts when your basic amenities are not met? I saw a quote somewhere, I don't know who said it, but it was something around finance. This is a bit higher in this conversation, but it's more like, if you don't have to think of money, like you have money,
what else?
You would be very productive. The kind of things you begin to think. You just look at what Elon Musk is thinking. Person when they're hungry, no go think that kind of thing. He's thinking of building whatever it is in the Mars.
Yes.
There is now internet there. He's telling you he has this, he has that. If that guy had not eaten, he will not know that there is a road. I'm saying this to defend us, so that when we are praying and saying, please give me job, it's because you know that there is no job. You have to pray to hold the one you are holding. So please cut us some slack and talk to our leaders. Thank you.
You know, it still comes back to, before Owa takes over, please. It still comes back to the ideology that religion is the opium of the masses. So currently in Nigeria, a lot of us are living below $1. So our thoughts is all about how do we survive
but let me explain,
one day to the next day.
What I mean.
Yes.
So I get you. But I always say that there's no member of my church, Daystar, that thinks self. Not because we don't know those members. You will say you don't know the members of Daystar. There's nobody that passes through the Daystar. Let me finish now, Dante.
Human beings.
There is nobody that passes through the teachings and the, what's it called, all the
messages.
Not only messages, you know, we go through like 100 level, 200 level, 300 level. We go to school, like the school, to become a member of the church. That after that level, you think self. In fact, after your 200 level, you're not thinking self, even because you begin to think more communal in your thoughts, right? So I think the reason, again, a lot of us have gotten to this place where we are today when it comes to self and thinking self and all of that is because of the messages that we have heard over and over and over again.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
In the same breath where you said, oh, there is nobody in your church that is selfish, can you also say that there's nobody in that church that does not have a PVC?
No.
You can't say that.
No, I can't say
then
that.
the selfishness is still there. So how exactly are they thinking community?
No, it's not about selfishness. So now I'm thinking, hold on.
Okay.
What you said before about polytracy, right? I love what you said. The church might not be comfortable endorsing any client. I say client.
Nigeria.
You know, the church might not be comfortable endorsing any candidate, but the church can actually play a major role in educating the electorate.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So that even when it is time for you to probably take some kind of decision, you would know that at the polling unit is already too late. You must have done the work from the ward level, from that level of being a delegate.
Yes.
Right? So that is, so if the church is engaging every of their members to say, this thing, one policy can scatter us, so we will not gather tomorrow. You understand? And they start to take this thing seriously, and they're educating the populace or the congregation politically. What do you think would happen? But let me,
I'm enjoying the flow of the conversation, and it still brings me back to what I said initially about focus. I think the leaders, because the question really is, can the church truly transform? And I love what you said initially when you said that are they ready? The church has the potential. They have the numbers. They have the influence. Whatever they say, especially the leaders, whatever they say, people have come to believe their word as God, literally. Now, if you know how influential your position is, then it's time for the church to become strategic.
Exactly.
It is time for the church to ask the pertinent questions. Amongst church members, there are people who have capacity to be leaders. What are you doing to groom these people, mentor them in the area of leadership so that they can begin to occupy these positions? That's one. There are people who have qualities. For example, modesty. These are part of the things that we look for in leaders. People that can listen to the people that they're leading, right? How do you begin to position yourself and open the eyes of these people to see that it's not just enough to be a member? After all, what does the Bible say? It says, go ye therefore, starting from Jerusalem, Abi. So when you train, You are expected to go out and make impact and make influence in the little areas until you continue to gain capacity. Because to him who has little and is able to take care of it, more will be given to him. I'm going in a different direction, right? Self-development. How are you helping the people to grow beyond just naira and kobo? What to eat, at the time. Recruitment. How do you begin to mobilize your people in different areas where they can begin to take position, where they can begin to be managers of 5s and 10s and 15, because it's not just enough to groom somebody and throw them out there when they have not had that opportunity to thrive or to learn to do these things. The more they gain mastery, the more they're able to take position, the more likely they are the people that people can see and say, okay, this thing that we're saying, as we're bringing out this person, he has a track record. He has history. These are some of the things that we're not paying attention to. And then communication, constant engagement. It's not just about just dishing out words. Or there has to be some kind of engagement. And I love when you brought in the aspect of the cell system, because that is where thorough engagement can now come down to one-on-one. These are the areas that you can begin to show influence and impact. And before you know it, this seeming thing that looks small catches fire.
Escalates.
By the time 30,000 people get it, by the time 40,000 people get it, it's only a matter of time for their communities to begin to be influenced. If you check the history of the church, when it started, there was a massive movement at different points. When they thought that, it was about vision, it was changed. Before you know it, they moved. Everywhere they went, it began to move. So what are we doing to create massive movement in the minds of the people that are under our custody? It's not just about talking. I loved it when you said it's about action. What action? We don't need to be, it's not even about forming a political, you can put your people strategically in the political space. And over time, more and more people are pushed in. Before you know it, you have more of your kind of people who are more likely to represent the values and the visions that can help a community or a people move forward. And that is when they're more intentional with building the right kind of people and empowering them to penetrate these spaces, I think we will begin to see. But like you said, the question is, are they ready?
Let's take some comments from our audience. That's quite interesting.
What's that?
Okay. So
who's going first?
I have one from Pastor Yemi, I believe. Pastor Femi. Oh, okay. So someone says, Pastor Femi has said it all. Let us pray and not work mentally. It's not helping the church. More so when Christians who are also in power are underperforming, you also feel disappointment and discouragement. This is from Mrs. Yuri.
Okay, this is from Felix Liberty, Justin from Jalingo. And he says, yes, the church can truly transform Nigeria only if we can channel our energy to prayers and actions. Faith without works is nullified.
Okay. This one from Chigozie says, fantastic evening, ladies. The conversation is quite interesting. The real obstacle in the way of the church being a transformation agent is our misplaced values. Our value orientation is nothing to write home about. So if the church members who have poor value orientation eventually go into politics, we will see no progress. A lot of work needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chigozie.
So I don't like the idea of thinking because I'm a member of this church, that is why you should vote for me. And because this is a common mistake people make. People go to churches and think that, I have been a member, I've been serving and all of that. We also must understand that, and this is why I also say the same thing around female candidacy. You must be able to match competence, you must be able to match intellect, you must be able to match a lot of things. Absolutely. So even when we are calling out the church to say, you have this number, you have this influence, you have that. In fairness, how many are ready candidates that the church can even say, you know what, I think we can actually put our back behind this candidate. I mean, again, for the church, just as you have a 10% that you have to set aside for offerings. You know, I mean for tithes rather.
Right.
Offering is different.
You know,
For
so
politics?
because politics is not just a game of numbers.
Right.
It's also in Nigeria. There has to be a lot of, although our
Funding.
guest had talked about, we had the guest Akim Braithwaite, he talked about, and he demystified that factor of needing excess money, but we still need money. So imagine if the church decides to say, you know what, the way we put aside 10% for tithes and all of that, why don't we put aside 5% of our income to keep it, you know, for people that we have seen that these people have track record and ready candidates to be able to back them up financially? Because again, don't forget that we are complaining and we're talking about godfatherism. A lot of those godfathers, what do they have? They have money. They have a lot of money to be able to say, you know what, come. Because godfathers also do what? They look out for potential. They don't just pick anybody.
Yeah.
You must be making a lot of influence in your community, and they've seen that this person, if I don't back this person, I'll be the one and lose, because he would win. So they just catch in on an opportunity and lash on that thing, and they jump at it and they back them up with money. So if the church, because church has money, church get money. If the church decides to say financially, I will back you up, with the people, I would back you up, a lot of things will change. There are some things, I mean, when Elsie was talking about, there are some things some people don't pray about. Because you know why? They're already seeing it. And this politics, everybody knows, anybody knows, is a game of numbers. So if we are really serious and we say, okay, we don't like the policies, we don't like all the things that are happening, what is the percentage you will need in a National Assembly to change the narrative? Do you understand?
People know that.
Another thing
Do you
we
understand?
also need to understand, it's not just about being a game of numbers, it's also a game of relationship. The relationship that the church has with the people and the relationship that the people have with the electorate, basically. So I think it's not just about politics being a game of numbers, it's also about relationship.
Yeah,
The
and the church has to be ready to play the game, which
the
is why I
church
think
has
this
to play
conversation
that
has
big
been
role.
based on an assumption that the church is even interested to
So
come
they
to
are not
the
even
game.
ready.
Back to the question.
Okay,
because
so
you
we need
have
to
to
move.
if you are doing politics, you have to play politics, and if you are going the route of that 5%, my darling, that 5% will come from that 10% already. Because nobody is giving any church 15%.
On that note, you're not
She's talking on behalf of
before.
We are being very clear. I am the people.
Thank you, ladies. I think we had a great conversation. I think we had some trouble with our phone lines today, but
Yeah.
it's all good. Before we go, do ensure you follow us on Instagram. It's at Wayshow Africa. You can follow us on Twitter as well at Wayshow Africa 1. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our social media engagements. And remember to like, share, invite your family and friends to watch and follow the conversation. Now, if you missed today's quote, here it is again. Those who believe that politics and religion do not mix, neither or understand neither. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.